Okay, YouTubers, this is going to be my first attempt at doing this, so hopefully it all works out okay. I had not been able to find a video on YouTube that shows you how to do this repair. I've seen it done before, and it's a fairly simple repair. What I have here is I have two Lennox Elite furnaces, 90% plus furnaces in my attic that both have extremely noisy exhaust combustion draft inducer motors. They are very expensive to buy. I was able to get a good price on it, and now I'm going to show you how to do the repair for it. Okay, so this is what the outside of this furnace looks like. Getting the door off to get to where I need to be is very simple. You got two of these little catches here on either side, so you just take them. And of course it's going to be stuck. Hold on a second. Just flip it up like so. And then take your hand, put it in the handle, slide up, and pull it out. This here, right here, is the offending motor. As you can see, there's two sets of pressure switches on either side. Now I took a picture of mine ahead of time, just to be on the safe side. As you can see, there's two different colored hoses to each side here on both pressure switches. There's also wires. It looks like mostly they connect to each other. I'll just make sure I pay attention to it as I'm taking it apart. There's a plug that connects the power to the motor, and then there's also a ground wire that goes down in here below. Matter of fact, that reminds me, I need to take off the lower cover as well. And that one's fairly simple too. Again, one thing I did forget to mention is you want to make sure that you turn the power off before you do this. Also, I don't recommend bypassing the blower door switch to operate the machine while all the doors are off, just for your own safety. So basically you just flip those two switches up, slide this door up and out of the way, and the ground wire goes down there. I'll show that to you in a little bit more detail as I get to it, because that'll be pretty much the last part, taking the motor out. So hang on, we'll get started. This is what the motor sounded like. This is the quieter of the two. This is what the motor sounds like before the repair. Listen for the difference when we're done. Alright, getting ready to get started here. Hope you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm going to start first by disconnecting the wires on these pressure switches here. Alright, two on each. As you can see, one comes up from below, and then one connects between the two of them. Another one goes back out there. So I'm going to take this one here and put that down below, out of the way. And then there's two screws on both of these pressure switches. You go ahead and loosen those and take them out of the way. Make sure you don't lose any of your screws here. Matter of fact, originally I thought that I was going to need to take these vacuum switches totally out. See that that's not going to be necessary. That saves me an extra step here. Tuck that up out of the way. And now we've got a hose clamp basically here. I'll loosen that up. Make sure it gives us some flex there. I may have to loosen a little bit more. But there's 1, 2, 4 screws. Let's start by taking them out. And they're rather long, as I recall. Actually, not as long as I thought. They're about that long there. The last screw here. Oops. Got that last screw out now. And just got to release it from that top bay there. And it came right out. Now, probably should have unplugged the motor first. That would have made more sense. There we are. And the ground wire, as you can see in here, comes down to the circuit board. And I've got to take a little bit of a closer look because I can't quite see it. Here it is. That's just a spade connector on the control board. Wiggle that out of there. And I would probably recommend using your other finger to hold the board steady. You don't want to rock it all crazy. And that just pulls up and out like so. Alright. So now we've got the old motor out. And not sure why they're as noisy as they are, but I'm going to take the new China motor out. What I'm going to be doing now is just slide this up into here. Okay. And get the other 4 bolts in, and we'll be on our way. Alright, we're just putting the securing bolts back in here. I'm trying to get at least 2 of them caught as I put this back in the position. Make sure we keep it kind of lined up right. I don't want to tweak anything in here. Here, as I can tell, you don't want to really torque these down too hard. I mean, obviously, we want to make sure they're snug. This is all hard plastic, and I certainly wouldn't mind to be the one to tighten it down too much, and the next thing you know, you've cracked something, and these parts in here can be pretty expensive. So, just use caution and use your best judgment in snugging them down. Find that bottom hole can be a little bit troublesome. I'm actually going to grab my light here for a quick second. Make sure I get in there. I'm just finishing up, tightening up all the bolts now. Just making sure everything's good and snug. Don't forget the hose clamp here. Make sure that's good and snug as well. I want to try and make sure it's back in the same groove it was when you pulled it off. And what I just did there, if you couldn't see, sorry for the instructions, I just reattach the power connector to it. Next thing I want to do is route the ground wire. Alright, so after a little bit of ado, we got the ground wire in there. Now it's time to reattach these pressure switches. Light back in here. And again, those are 2 screws apiece, and hopefully you paid attention to how your wiring's hooked up. I'm going to double check my my work here in a minute. And so you got one on either side. Here's 2 screws that screw back into the fan housing.
That one's in place. I'll put the second one in. And again, just tightening these down. And again, at this point you may want to reference and double check your wiring, because I'm going to. Here comes the moment of truth here. Wait for this thing to power back up and see if it works. I'm just waiting for the thermostat call to come back. I just turned the power back on. Again, be very cautious when you put your blower door back on that you do it correctly. If you don't, it can cause some issues. And we'll wait for it to light off here, but it appears we've got success. The motor is a lot quieter. I had meant to record it ahead of time, what the old one sounded like. I may be able to do it with the other one before I hook it up, but way better. Waiting for blower kick on.
if we've got success here.